Hosted in conjunction with Chris Media, the CEO interview series allows investors to hear directly from the CEOs leading the companies featured on Wholesale Investor. Enjoy the interview and reach out via the details in the description.
Hi everyone, welcome to another CEO interview for Chris Media. Today we have Michael Myer joining us from Sunshine Hydro. Thank you so much for joining us, Michael.
You're welcome, Meg. Lovely to be here.
So first of all, it would be great to hear from you about an overview of Sunshine Hydro and the main function that it performs.
So let me give you a bit of background, Megan. Sunshine Hydro started 6 years ago. It was started by the founder, Chris Baker, and he was looking at how do you solve the problem that the politicians refer to, which is how do you create firm green energy when the wind doesn't always blow and the sun doesn't always shine? And what he started looking at is deep energy storage in the form of pumped hydro. So what we aim to do was to be able to take the variance in the wind profile and the variance in the sun profile of renewable energy, combine it with deep energy storage to create a firm green energy that a big industrial customer can use. So like a Rio Tinto or Coles and Woolworths. We wanted to de-risk basically pumped hydro. So for 30 years, if you look around the world, new pumped hydro projects haven't been invested in unless it's had government support. So we wanted to see if we could create deep energy storage in the form of pumped hydro in a de-risked way and a way that makes commercial sense. So Chris spent 4 years developing a very powerful piece of software that we call AESOP to develop algorithms that could convert variable renewable energy into firm green energy. And then we've also added to our proposition, we're looking at combining that now with electrolysis to create green hydrogen. So Sunshine Hydro has developed a business model that we call a Superhybrid. So we integrate wind energy, solar energy with deep energy storage in the form of pumped hydro, and we combine it with electrolysis and liquefaction. And we integrate all these assets using this software. And what we're able to do is now produce a multiple revenue model coming out of pumped hydro. We're able to produce firm green energy, which is 24/7, 365 days a year, with green hydrogen, both gaseous and liquid hydrogen, and also additional services that we can provide to the grid. We can firm up the grid. We can make the grid more stable. We can make the grid more responsive. So we've developed this business model, and then we started looking at all the optimal sites. We looked at all the pumped hydro sites across the eastern seaboard in Australia. The ANU has looked at tens of thousands of these sites, and we developed our own criteria to come up with a list of top 10 sites across the eastern seaboard. So we've been in the process in the last 2 years of getting control of sites where these super hybrids can work. So we're on a path to develop a whole portfolio within Australia, and then our global ambitions see us taking the software and applying it to sites around the world, in North America and in Europe and in Asia. So we've been on this journey, and we're now at the point where we're literally in the process of rolling out our first sites. So we've developed a very unique business model, and we've developed a very compelling piece of green technology in the form of this software.
Fantastic. And I guess you've touched on this point a little bit during your answer there, but what was it that you specifically saw in the market that motivated you to want to work in this company as a solution?
Well, in my own case, and certainly in the case of all the senior executives, we're not only motivated by developing a very profitable business model, but we're also motivated by the desire to help decarbonise the planet. So really what we want to do is help decarbonise, and these projects do so in a very significant way. So our typical project, which is about 600 megawatts of pumped hydro, 300 megawatts of electrolysis, we draw in 1.8 gigawatts of renewable. A typical project will abate about 4.5 million tonnes of carbon. Now, to give you an idea of what that represents, if we do 10 of those in Australia, that's 45 million tonnes of carbon. That's nearly 10% of Australia's current carbon emissions. So we have a very high ambition to help decarbonise the planet. And that in itself has a huge value. And that really is the thing that motivated me. I've been on this journey for 40 years. I've been interested in how can we fight climate change? What are the very direct mechanisms that we can use? And this business model that I got introduced through from meeting Chris is one that has the most compelling impact on that journey of helping to decarbonise the planet. So that's the thing that gets me up every day. It's the thing that motivates me. It's the thing that keenly motivates all the key team that we've brought together. So we not only have a profitable business model, we have a business model that really makes a very big difference globally.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's super, super relevant at the moment. I really see this is a massive problem that you're solving. And would you say that you have any competitors in the market? And what would that competitive advantage be that Sunshine Hydro brings?
Yeah, look, there are competitors. We buy the renewable energy from other developers. So we don't develop the wind and the solar ourselves. We're in partnership with Energy Estate in our first project around Gladstone, and they're the ones that are developing the wind and the solar. And there are other people looking at pumped hydro projects across Australia as well in the world. Like in America at the moment, there's 82 projects that are, in theory, prospects to be developed. Where we have the advantages is this software. We have spent 6 years developing it, and we're able to optimize every green electron that we buy. So at any given moment, any 5-minute period, what our software is doing is what is the best and the optimal use of that electron. Should we pump it and store it in the form of deep energy storage? Should we put it into the grid? Are we producing firm green energy? Are we producing green hydrogen? So this tool is a way to optimize and maximize the return. And there is no competitive product around the world that is doing this at the moment. And that's why we're having partnerships with major engineering firms, and those engineering firms have been lit up by what we do because there is no competitive offering. It's an enterprise software tool, it's an artificial intelligence tool, and that gives us our competitive advantage. That's the thing that makes the difference between a business as usual pumped hydro project and a pumped hydro project that uses our software. And we've modeled this because we've looked at existing projects, Megan. We've looked at projects like Wyvenhodes and existing pumped hydro. We can see the gross profit that they make. And when you apply the software to an existing project, what you're able to do is increase the gross profit by about 300%. So we can look at existing pumped hydro projects and say, we can license you this tool and we can dramatically improve your returns. We can dramatically improve the outcomes. And a lot of pumped hydro projects, they get stuck because they're on a very narrow revenue. So where most pumped hydro projects are a one-trick pony, we say we're a 3+ trick pony. So we're able to produce many more revenue streams out of what we do because of the software. So our competitive advantage comes from that intelligence, that software. And there is no competitor at the moment in the marketplace.
Fantastic. Thank you, Michael. So you've mentioned Chris, but it would be great to understand a bit more about the team involved working towards this fantastic goal and what skills they bring to the business.
Look, that's been one of the most exciting things, Megan, of working in Sunshine Hydro. We've built a really strong team, and the team involves a lot of engineering experience. For example, Chris is both a civil engineer and he's a software engineer. That's a unique combination. The CEO, Rick McElhaney, also is a civil engineer, and he's built and floated to NASDAQ software companies. Chris Evans, who's just joined the team as head of sales and marketing, likewise has an engineering background, but he's also worked in software companies globally. So Dan Raymond, who's head of our director of projects, has been working in big civil infrastructure projects for over 40 years. So we've been able to assemble a team that is really probably the best of breed in the country. And now that we've partnered with Energy Estate, they likewise have got a team. So we have these, it's sort of like a yin and yang between the two companies. We've brought the sort of the best brain power to the table, and it really is exciting. I mean, I've been in the venture capital space for a lifetime. I worked in Australia's first software float on NASDAQ. And I can say, looking back over a 50-year business career, I've never worked with a more exciting team of people. And the culture of the company that we've developed is really it's quite unique. You know, every week we have a company muster. We get together. We talk about what's going on in their lives. It's a really collaborative, collegial approach to the development of this business. You know, and then at the same time we're bringing on a team of young engineers who are all excited about the sort of mission that we have. And it's really interesting because a lot of engineers who are graduating are very motivated. They want to change the planet. They don't want to do business as usual. They really do want to make a difference. And so we have this sort of, team of sort of the grey heads, if you will, who've been around the block many times. And then we've got a young team of engineers and software engineers who are coming under us, you know, and learning on this journey with us. So it really has been very exciting, very motivating, and quite inspiring, you know, leading this group of unique individuals.
Amazing. That sounds super exciting, and what a cause to be involved with. So you've touched on a lot of the milestones that you've hit so far. So what does the roadmap look like for the next 6 to 12 months for Sunshine Hydro?
So we've been a startup. We've done 3 seed rounds of capital raising. We're literally right in the middle of an A round raising now, which the memorandum for which is on the Wholesale Investor, website. We're in discussions. We've signed a term sheet with a party with whom we met yesterday in Melbourne. So our A is for $65 million, and that will give us the working capital for the next 2 years. It gives us the capital to invest in our first 3 projects. So our first 3 projects are all located around Gladstone. Gladstone being one of the sort of global hubs for renewable energy and green hydrogen. So over the next 6 months, we really want to bring forward those projects. We're about to lodge the first development application for our first project at Gladstone. We're also in the process of securing more land for sites. We have 3 in northern New South Wales, and we've just optioned the land for those. But we want to start joint venturing with developers in North America. So in 2 years, over the next 6 to 12 months, we see the company growing staff-wise, probably trebling in size. We'll be growing our development pipeline. We'll be negotiating with the wind and solar farms to get power purchase agreements from those developers, and we'll be negotiating with off-takers for the green hydrogen and also for the firm green energy. So we're really on a fast track. These projects to come to fruition, because it's pumped hydro, it's about a 6-year lead time.
Right.
So they have a slow development time frame, and that's fairly typical. People would say we're being fairly aggressive even on a 6-year time frame, but because of the team we have, we're very confident we can deliver on that. We've also developed partnerships with the community. We've developed partnerships with the traditional owners. We had a naming ceremony last week up in Gladstone with the traditional owners, the Gurang people, and they're a partner with us on these projects. So as we develop them, we're developing strong social and environmental license for what we do by having the community involved from the very day one, and likewise the traditional owners. So it's about strengthening those partnerships, bringing forward the development timeline for the projects. So the stage we're in now is getting the development approval, and then we move into the feed stage, the front-end engineering design, with an aim to get financial close in about 2025, 2026 for our first project. And to give you just the scale of the project, a typical project is about $2 billion investment.
Okay.
And if you add the renewables, Megan, it's about $5.5 billion. So to do 10 of them across Australia, the Eastern Coast, we're talking a 55 billion CapEx pipeline. So it's very significant. You know?
Yeah, huge.
But we have a team that's capable of doing it. You know, we have a team who've delivered on these sorts of projects over time. And as I said earlier, it really is a pleasure, you know, to lead a team that have that depth of experience and have the ambition. You know, it's the combination of the experience and the ambition.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives us the confidence, you know, to go forward.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Michael, for explaining all of that for us. It sounds like a super exciting company to be a part of and to be aware of. So anyone that's watching, if you are interested in hearing more from Sunshine Hydro, please reach out via the link below or to the side of this screen. And anyone in the team that is relevant will reach back out to you and will be more than willing to have a conversation, whether it's about the investment round or anything in general. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thanks, Megan. Yeah, lovely to be here. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.